Okay, thank you for the introduction. As our host said, I'm Isra,
I'm Yuri.
and we are learning advisors in the Self-Access Learning Center at Kanda University. So our presentation today is going to be in two parts. So first, Yuri and I are going to talk about our center, and then our colleague Pornsri WRIGHT will talk about a second center, which is located within our university. So first, about our SALC, I think many of you at JASAL may be familiar with our center already. Um, but I think we had similar experiences to everyone earlier this year, where it was decided that our university was going online, and then we suddenly had about 1 month to sort of make the transition online. And so the kind of numbers here kind of illustrate what we had in the previous year in 2019. Um, the SALC is really a central part of our campus, and we had over 22,000 users on average per month. Our students borrowed over 9,700 materials, and we had over 1,500 appointments for advising sessions. And so that's not really to talk about how big or how great we were, but just to kind of illustrate, the size of the task which we had to deal with in making this transition in March. So we're going to talk about the things which we did within our SALC team today. There were other more direct language support services, such as like conversation practice, which was handled more by the English Language Institute side of our faculty. But these are the things which we did within our team. And we had to rely a lot on collaboration within the SALC team. So us, we learning advisors, and also our administrative staff. And one thing that we realized pretty quickly was that we'd have to focus on the website and kind of revise the content, because it was going to be a hub for our students to get information and also access our services. So one thing we did was to create this special page, which would be highlighted on the main website. And it was going to be a central source of new information and updates from the center. And we also increased the focus on the online resources which we could offer, because students weren't able to come in and access the physical center and our materials. So we increased the number of external links to materials which students could use for their online learning. And also because, in our physical SALC, we have these recommendation cards which advisors can use to highlight materials and recommend them to students. But because students weren't coming into the center, as resource coordinators, Yuri and I were able to use a Google form for learning advisors to recommend materials and share information with each other, so we knew what advisors were looking at. But also our administrative staff was able to use that information and share advisors' recommendations and get them out to students on our social media accounts. Another thing that we did was to look at online strategy guides and videos which we could host on the website. So in the physical SALC, we have a lot of these various strategies and resource guides which are available for students to take at any time. And again, because students weren't able to access the physical SALC, and we didn't have face-to-face contact with advisors, these strategy guides and these videos, which we put up on the website, were able to make up for some of that lack of contact. So these strategy guides, we asked the advisors to come up with online guides, which we put online. And some of them were adapted from existing materials, and some of them were developed originally. And they focused on things like language strategies and reflection skills, and also like our students' learning processes. And about the videos, we realized that students often get information from advisors in the SALC face-to-face, and we needed to be able to give information to them on demand with them not coming into the center. So we had videos introducing the SALC, kind of how to use certain services, information about the SALC, and also self-introductions so that the students would know who we were. So these were on YouTube and also hosted on our website.
Okay. So advising services were also moved into online using Zoom, and we are operating the same services under the same hours. As for the booked advising sessions, we've been using the reservation system called SuperSAS, and we are already using the same system, so we didn't have to change the aspect. And regarding to learning help desk, it's no reservation needed. So if students want to talk to us without reservation, they can check the schedule on the SALC website and talk to an advisor who is on duty. And before the school year started, we were concerned about whether students would actually use the advising services, but the number of booked advising sessions was actually much higher than we expected. We actually got more than 100 appointments in the last semester compared to the previous year. And while advising remotely, we have tried different approaches to adjust the new online environment. And here are some examples. So some learning advisors, they have proactively utilized the Zoom annotation function to replace some strategies that they've used in the face-to-face advising sessions. Some share their personal experiences with their advisors, especially about motivation more than before. Some advisors have been explicitly suggesting more learning resources, activities, or learning strategies to their advisees. And finally, some advisors have used more Japanese than in the face-to-face advising sessions. And if you're interested in knowing more about our reflection under the pandemic, please have a look at the latest CISO journal we published. And as for social learning opportunities, the social learning opportunities or social learning is a really big part of our SALC. So there have been many active interest-based learning communities led by students, even in the online environment. And we have also online events organized by students, SALC staff, SALC student staff, teachers, and learning advisors. And we've been having at least one event or community meeting every day, and most of them have been quite successful.
Okay, so just to wrap up, some of the things which we noticed from our experience. First, the teamwork within the SALC team and coordination with our administrative staff was absolutely crucial this year. When we were preparing for going online, we had to determine what we could do in the time that was available and also what our students needed right away. And the administrative staff really helped us to make the connections between what we wanted to do and what university policy might allow us to do. So doing a lot of those backstage procedures. Also, we are, I'm sure is the same as many as you, our situation for next year is still quite uncertain. We don't know what our SALC will look like in the next academic year. But this time we do have time to plan. Last time was in March was really an emergency situation, but now we have time to use what we've learned from this year, and we can be able to plan flexibly for the next academic year. And moving forward, we can think about which of these measures we'll be able to keep. Some of them, these were emergency measures, but some of them will be useful for us going forward. And some of them might be, more temporary measures, which we'll, get away from once we return to physical operations. Okay, so we have references that we can share with you later, but I will now turn it over to our colleague, Pornsri WRIGHT.
Hello, my name is Pornsri WRIGHT. I will introduce to you how our Multilingual Communication Center, or in short, Maruku, supports the learning before and during the pandemic. And this is what our Maruku look like. And let me tell you about Maruku. It was built in 2009 as a center for the 7 languages offered as majors beside English. In our university, besides English, students can major in Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Korean, Indonesian, Vietnamese, and Thai. Maruku offers a separate space for each language, and this is where students majoring in these languages can hang out and use as their home. Maruku is designed to make students feel like they are abroad because there are many native teachers and exchange students in each area. The center had an atmosphere filled with diversity of languages and cultures. These are the area of Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, Korean, Indonesian, Vietnamese, and Thai language. Students can gather for cultural activities. We have Thai music performances here regularly, and we also eat together on special occasions. So Maruku is a place where students can come to use their second language and exchange cultures. Many of them also come here to ask for learning support from teachers. Before 2020, we never offered online support because students could come to Maruku for face-to-face communication, to rest and do self-study or homework. This graph shows the number of students that came to use Maruku during the first semester of 2019. You can see that by language, the numbers could be from 2,600 to 6,500 students. A survey also showed that a high number of students came to use Maruku every day. Then when COVID-19 started, all classes shifted to online learning for the entire academic year. First year students haven't had a chance to have any real face-to-face contact with teachers or their peers. It had been quite unfortunate for our students. Then the university came up with an alternative to help students majoring in these 7 languages to have a space where they can meet teachers and exchange students like they used to. Then Maruku provided students with Maruku Zoom chat. It operates through the online reservation system called Superstars, which allows students to find a convenient time to chat with their teachers and other students. These sessions last 30 minutes and can have up to 5 students participating. In the slide, each color is for a different teacher. Now let's look at the number of teachers who support students in Maruku Zoom chat. We have 13 teachers, 11 natives and 2 Japanese. All these teachers are always at Maruku before and during the pandemic. We have about 2 teachers from each language major. This graph shows the number of comma in each language major offers as Maruku Zoom chat to students. The total is 60 comma per week. The Thai area offers the most comma. I myself do 7 comma per week, besides my regular 6 comma of class teaching. The total number of students that came to talk to me last semester was 689 students. All these extra hours are paid by the university, and I am happy to do it because I teach speaking. So Maruku Zoom chat gives me the opportunity to help students with their pronunciation. And in this table, you can see the number of students using Zoom chat at Maruku last semester. On the left are the language areas, and on the right are the numbers of students who use Maruku chat. In totals, we had 1,942 students. The number is not very high because we allowed students to book only once a day. During this second semester, the number will be higher because we no longer limit the number of bookings per day. Here you can see how Maruku was used before and during the pandemic. Even though the number of students using Maruku Zoom chat this year is not that high, Maruku Zoom chat nevertheless provides a space where students can meet teachers and classmates outside of the classroom. With Zoom chat, they can get extra support. They can practice their pronunciation, they can speak, and ask for help with their presentation scripts or even do the vocabulary test. In fact, I prefer to do vocabulary tests in Maruku Zoom chat so that I don't have to use too much time in class for each student pronunciation. Besides teachers, we also have exchange students and senior students that are available during lunchtime every day to help. They can give advice with learning or speak casually or share experiences. In conclusion, I would like to say that in this difficult time, I am very fortunate that my university provides students with Maruku Zoom chat. It is a channel that has allowed first year students and I to get to know each other, and I am able to support my students, help out and make sure they acquire good pronunciation, which is especially important in Thai because it is a tone language. I truly feel that I don't give less attention or less practice time than during the face-to-face era. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, we are happy to answer.